Hi, Internet.
I'm Tiny.
And I'm Chuy. We're TNC at the movies.
Do I have to do the bit?
Yes. Everyone else has done it, so we have to do it too.
Alright. Fasten your seatbelts. This is a review. Oh.
And we're back with another episode. But before we start, I just want to remind everyone to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like what we're doing. If you really like what we're doing, buy us a coffee. Go to my buymeacoffee.com/TNC. And if you really like us, you can become one of our movie night baristas, as you will see scrolling right down the screen.
Oh, wait.
The music you're listening to is provided by Studio P, which can be found on Spotify. And don't forget, this episode is brought to you by RoccoClark.com.
That's right, that's RoccoClark.com.
I'd like to take this time to thank the sponsor for the episode, RoccoClark.com. At RoccoClark.com, you can find help with many of your multimedia needs, like photo editing, including photo restoration or object removal, website design with Java or HTML. Maybe you have a special project that just needs a light touch-up, or perhaps a project that needs to be completely revamped. The awesome staff at RoccoClark.com will love to help you. Even if you're not sure what your vision is just yet, Rocco Clark will guide you through. Go to RoccoClark.com and fill out the Contact Me section for more information. RoccoClark.com, your next front-end developer. And Tiny,
Yo,
what are we reviewing today?
today we are reviewing Fast X. As you can see, we've already watched Fast X. We definitely grabbed our popcorn and drink of choice. Obviously the popcorn, sweet tin here. This movie stars quite the cast. It is a cornucopia, a plethora, a what's a good word? A hodgepodge. It is. Let me find it here. Let me find it for you people. We've got Vin Diesel, you know, reprising his role as Dom. We've also got Letty, of course. We've got Shaw, Mia, Roman, Tej, Ramsey, Cypher, Jacob, surprisingly, Han, Queenie, Tess. That is little nobody. Always funny. You also have Lil B, little Brian. Surprisingly, not annoying. You've also got Ames, which is a new addition to the film. Also Dante, another great addition and new addition to the film. We have Hernan Reyes returning. Or is he? I think, you know what, they did bring him back for a few, I want to say a few scenes because it looks, we'll get to it. And then we have, you know what, that was it for main characters. But, again,
I just want to say, this is what happens when your characters are indestructible.
yes, and have the uncanny ability to make you join the family. This movie is the, 10th film? No. The 11th.
I was like, wait, there's Hobbs and Shaw.
That's right. So this is the 11th installment in the Fast and Furious franchise. Fast X is a sequel to the 5th installment of the franchise. It is an action-packed film. There is no there's no shortage of booty shorts, cars, and illegal street races. This movie's got it all. And if it didn't have it for you, you probably didn't want to watch a Fast and the Furious movie. So there's that for you.
We're gonna talk about some of the characters, but specifically, I want to talk about, you know, the big antagonist of the film, Dante Reyes.
Oh, that's right.
And the reason I'm doing that, the reason I want to talk about him specifically or the most, is because he is the plot device. The entire reason that everybody is there, the entire reason that everyone is logistically there, right? Is because of this character and what he is trying to do, which is, you know, of course, he's trying to take out the Toretto family.
Right.
Which, as we all know, is, for lack of a better term, clown car. They're just member after member after member after member. And for some reason, it took this guy 20 years to realize that Tom is about family. And that's the only way to get to him. But Tanya, I want to talk about the performance of Jason Momoa.
Oh, yes.
As Dante Reyes, because I think that he did an amazing job. Right? I think that the entire time that I was sitting in this theater, I was wondering how much of this was scripted in that way, or how much of it was I'm just gonna be really eccentric, right?
Yeah, okay. I hear you.
Because it sort of gave me these, dare I say, James Bond vibes, not in storyline, but in just the way that you're showcasing the villain.
Yeah, okay.
I think, like in every GoldenEye or every James Bond film, the biggest thing they're looking for is who's the new bad guy and how's he different than the before.
Right.
Shout out to Jaws. That wait, hold on. It's out of that tangent. We're back. So I think that he was obviously the main attraction of the movie, and
for sure.
I think that he did just an amazing job. What do you think about his performance?
As soon as I was listening to what you were saying, and you said that basically he's there to steal the show, right? He's there to. When The Rock was inserted, sorry, Dwayne Johnson, don't mean to hate on you. When Dwayne Johnson was inserted into the franchise, it was a rejuvenation for the franchise. It was basically if you weren't already a fan, you're a fan now. You know what I mean? And it was a guaranteed cash grab. And I'm not saying Momoa is a guaranteed cash grab, but I feel like Momoa would bring in a lot more people to the franchise. Like, it's already a well-established, $1 billion plus, right?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Yeah. And it's Universal, and they're never gonna stop. Universal's great. His character, his addition, his portrayal, his either on script or not, it was fantastic. I think it was great. It was one of the smartest choices they could have done, casting wise. And Momoa's choices for I want to say just about every scene, fantastic.
When we were first presented to Dante, he had that very, very serious demeanor, like he was all business, and then you're like, well, I guess he's gonna be like any other bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And then we move on to when he's actually up there, and spoiler, his dad's already dead, so he's already moving on, and now we're just focusing on him as the main antagonist. And then I almost feel like maybe not a 180, but I feel like it just sort of unveiled who the character actually was.
Yeah.
Right? So I thought that was actually that was done very, very well. Because it set an expectation, which wasn't good or bad. I just thought like, oh, standard bad guy. And yet he was anything but that. He was eccentric. He was, very entertaining, more than anything else. But how do you feel about that switch?
From Dom's portrayal of the antagonist in the first installment to the
just in the opening scene, where you first saw him, when they were stealing the money.
Oh,
and you just saw him like you saw his dad giving the speech like,
right.
We're like the best, and now we're gonna make sure that we rule everything, or not verbatim, of course.
Right.
And then he's like, yes, Dad.
Yeah,
not verbatim. But you kind of get like, oh, okay, he's like a very serious,
standard tough.
Very serious, standard
okay.
tough.
I hear you now.
Like, oh, he's the boss's son.
Right. Wolf, basically.
Yeah. And then once you actually get him, and he was actually able to be, the boss, and he's the main guy. You saw like what I guess is his true personality kind of pop out.
Yeah, for sure.
And So I mean, I was very. I thought that that switch, as it were, was a very nice touch.
Oh yes. It was definitely, I think, needed, because you don't want to stale. You don't want to stalemate. You don't want to funk up the scene, right? You want to make sure you keep it fresh. And with your 10th, your 11th installment in the franchise, you're gonna have to make those choices. Either made by the director or made by the actor. You're gonna want to roll the dice.
Because this movie has so many characters.
Yes.
You actually have multiple subplots, and I was trying to count them, and I think I found like 8, 9 like mini subplots of like just all kinds of things that are going on, and I thought that it was pretty well organized. I think all in all, we were able to just sort of follow everything through without just feeling like it was too much. The movie was it 2.5 hours?
It clocked in at 2 hours and 21 minutes.
It clocked almost 2.5 hours, and there was a lot of storyline. A lot of storylines that they had to
A, B,
kind of
C, and D, right?
work with, and of course, because it's going to be a 3-parter.
Yes, assumed to be 3-parter, right?
You did have the ability to sort of have some, not be complete, or sort of, you just start some, but there was just a lot of things going on. But I think it was written in a way that it didn't take away. And also, they're gonna have 3 movies to make sure they kind of tie as many loose ends as possible.
That's right, because not everything was necessarily resolved in the first in this installment. Not everything was resolved. So I want to say nothing was, right?
Yeah, no, nothing. I think everything was
not a thing. Yeah,
it's like basically Han Solo got taken away in carbonite like 3 times.
Yeah, this is their Return of the Jedi. Not Return of the Jedi. This is their Empire
Strikes Back.
Yeah, sorry. Their Return of the Jedi has not happened yet, because once they add Ewoks, count me all in, guys. Because I know we're all waiting for the Transformers, but if you add Star Wars, forget about it.
Yeah,
the superpowers.
And with all that stuff going on, it's sort of a good problem to have, because there's a lot to choose from. So Tiny, I'm about to ask.
Oh yes, sir.
Out of all the characters, all 20,000 of them.
Yeah. All 24 plus.
Narrow it down for us. Who's the character you like?
Out of all the characters, I'm gonna go Jacob. Jacob was, I want to say, relatable. It was fun. He's the uncle you want. He's the uncle you want to be. It's just, I think out of all the characters, I know he's kicking a bunch of buns inside of an apartment or the house in that scene, but I want to say he's the most grounded character. Most down to earth, most relatable, because he's not like super techie. He's not, he's just guns, car, cannons, and saving lives.
All right. Well, for me, Tiny, I have to say, 100% is Ludacris' character Tej.
Yeah.
And the reason is just he's a really, really smart dude, and I always assume that he's gonna have something to do with the climactic scene where, like, whatever big thing is gonna happen in this film, I always feel like he's gonna be basically the one that's gonna come up with the plan or somehow be involved. Just like when he's the one that went to space, and he's the one that did all the calculations for a lot of the the big stunts that end up happening.
He's Donatello, basically.
Yeah.
Brains.
So, basically standard. He's basically my favorite character in the series. So he just sort of continues on that path.
Nice.
However, I will have to give, and I will be piggybacking off your Jacob decision here, because my other favorite character of this particular film was 100% Little Brian.
Yes.
Little Brian, no pun intended, because he's a killer. He, like just, I like the fact that, in the opening scene, all the driving, and you're like, oh man, that's cool. And then you're like, well, obviously it's, Dom or what have you. And then,
right.
Nope, it's this little kid. One of the reasons I like Little Brian was because I really enjoyed the road trip subplot with him and Jacob, where it was just like a nice little break from all of the action that was happening. And then, action. Let's take a break. Let's see what Little B and Jacob are doing.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was just fun. It was just fun. So shout out, obviously, to Little Brian. Tej is definitely still the favorite character. Like we said, was it but obviously the one that stole the show is Dante, because it was just a hell of a performance.
For sure. And you're saying the road trip subplot. It was awesome, and it was very like reminiscent of an '80s film that you would watch growing up as a kid, or maybe even a film you would rent at Blockbuster or your local video shop. It was just dope.
Yeah,
yeah, like for sure. I'd watch that movie for sure.
If I had anything to do with this movie, I would have just had a Chevy Chase, and just not even like the camera on him, just have him drive on the freeway. And just not even say anything.
Yeah, like with a family, full car,
little station wagon with a family, and then just go uncredited, but it just have everyone know.
Yeah, like it would be. That's actually really good, dude. That's funny. That's good.
I want to talk about some our favorite scenes, but first.
Okay.
And if it happens, hopefully it's not your favorite scene as well, or if it is, cool. But I just want to get your thoughts on the scene. I just want to make sure that we just kind of keep the spoiler a little free. So we're gonna talk about the scene that was in the trailer.
Okay.
So how do you feel about that? The scene with the big giant rolling ball and everyone playing Rocket League.
What did I think of that scene? I thought that scene was awesome. I thought it was great. Not once did I think of Rocket League. That's actually funny. I didn't know. I did. What's the word? What are the words I'm looking for? It all looked very believable. Physics be damned. It was a fun scene. It portrayed Dom as the hero he has become instead of your first round antagonist. It shows not only does he care for the Vatican, but he cares for the innocent lives of you would assume residents or maybe tourists, whatever, but it was just fun. It was a great scene. No, for sure.
Well, I really enjoyed the scene. Even though we saw it in the trailers, I think once we saw it and we saw it in its full entirety, I think it was a really, really good setup of everything that was to come. Because the moment I saw that, I was like you were saying, what he was doing, I was like, huh, Dom Toretto is a superhero.
Yeah.
It's like somehow they give him some like really, really ambiguous superpowers where I don't know what it is, but he's just still alive and he's just doing ungodly things, right? And it's like, wow. Is it ungodly or godly? Ungodly, right? Or godly?
Godly like.
Oh my god.
Or is it ungodly?
Correct me in the comments below.
Someone's gonna tell us.
But just this amazing power, and like I said, he's indestructible. So he's a superhero. He's got superpowers. I don't know what powers he's got really. He's he's like Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
In
Unbreakable?
In Unbreakable?
Oh,
like
goodness. Yeah, no, I hear you. I was even just going to say maybe he's just got the power of luck. You know what I mean? But I hear you.
Yeah, because luck. Yeah, no, there's a lot of scenes where you know what? Okay, I was funny you said that because in that opening scene, I was like, he should be dead. Okay, no one is gonna die. No one can die in this film.
Yeah.
Just no one can die. I want to sort of get your gauge on sort of the difference or the way they went about this particular film, because up until this film, I feel like it's always been, you know, how can we top the previous film, right? So, you know, we got street racing, okay, and then about the fourth one, we got some really big stunts. And from there, it's been, you know, how are we gonna top the last one? And, you know, and in 9, they go to space in a Pontiac.
Yeah, they do. They sure do.
And then they're like, how is it that they're gonna top this? And I think that's when they sort of just switched it up, right? So it's just like, instead of giving you one big giant, you know, like scene where you're like, we're all here to see this one particular thing, you know, like when we see a car versus a submarine,
right,
you know, the Fiero in space. Instead of getting the one, we were just getting repeated non-stop. Like they just, instead of, you know, how can we top the last film, it was how can we top the last scene? Because it just kept going, you know, progressively action, more action. Hey, road trip. Action, road trip, action. So I think it was quite brilliant. What they ended up doing was just, instead of giving us one big giant load, they just gave us a nice constant stream of action, which I appreciated.
Yeah, no, I think anyone would appreciate it, just a constant stream of action. I was gonna piggyback on some of the things you were saying, and I'm trying to really keep it professional. The monotony was broken up well. Like you were saying, it's action, you know, subplot, action, subplot, and I think that's one of the things the franchise does well. You know what I mean? It'll give you your comedy, it'll give you your heartfelt, your seriousness, your family. You know, it'll give you all that. That's some good stuff. Longevity. People you'll hate, but it's got good longevity.
You know, so many small shout outs, because again, so many subplots. But I cannot let this review continue without mentioning just the little situation between Letty and Cypher.
Yes.
And okay, so we've seen that every single antagonist up until now has gone from really like, you know, big time, like mortal enemy, and somehow you're a part of the family.
Yeah.
and I'm interested to see if you can't do that with Cypher. She killed little Brian's birth mom.
Oh.
So I'm like,
yeah, that's right.
You know, like, I don't know where that is gonna go, but I thought you know, their little subplot was great. Shout out to the fighting scene. Great fight scene.
Choreographed very well.
Great fight scene. Like, there's just very like good, like just technical and tactical. They just you know, close quarters combat. Metal Gear Solid 3. It's just
when Letty took that final bump onto the workstation, I guess, when she fell through that window. Ouch. You know, like, ouch. I usually like grimace and make faces when watching gore in movies, but that wasn't gore, and that made me do the exact thing I would. Good stuff. Like, it was directed well. Shout out to the director. Director of The Incredible Hulk, one of the good movies.
All right, Tiny.
Sure.
How would one describe the cinematography? I mean, would you call it cinematography? I personally have been calling it actionography, because it's always been just the setup of all the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Because it's always not so much where they are and everything, you know, around there, because that's always presented well. But I think the cinematography here comes in the vehicles, right? Whether it's the cars, the helicopters, giant, you know, trucks and moving, you know, vehicles or what have you.
They are the scenes.
They are the scenes, right? Because everything is always, all the action zooms in and they're on all of these things, right? I thought it was done well. There was a lot of variation, right? And I think a lot of that attributes to just the nonstop action, because there was always someone who was always doing something, and something was always about to blow up.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just, I thought that there was plenty of explosions without there being sort of Michael Bay, you know, vibes.
My favorite scene, oddly enough, really, it does not involve a street race. It does not involve Dom. It does not involve Dante. This scene is all your B characters chilling. You've got Han, Tej, Ramsey, Roman, and this is the scene where they're hanging out in the, was it computer lab?
Yeah.
Right? Whatever it's called. But they're in this like 90s style
internet cafe.
Yeah, there it is, internet cafe. I'm sorry, yeah. A 90s internet cafe. I'm only used to calling them labs because that's what they called it, the computer lab. That's cool. But anyways, internet cafe. You're introduced to this character named Bowie, and as soon as you're introduced to this character, whether you like him or not, he's instantly funny. It's entertainment. This is one of the monotony things I was talking about, like, well, we didn't talk about it yet, but one of the things, like, the breaking up the monotony in a film like this, it's needed. It was very much appreciated. It got me thinking, the potential for the next installments to be better. Yeah, that's my favorite scene. Hanging out in an internet cafe with Pete Davidson eating what I can only assume or hallucinogenic muffin.
Oh yeah, no, he said it was like was it a mushroom muffin or just some kind of?
He never specified in what the substance was in those muffins. Just that they were silly time muffins, basically. Looked like a good time.
Han had a good time.
Yeah, yeah, he did. 20 plus years later, and this franchise is still going. What are your thoughts on this installment, Fast X?
Well, I feel like this is one of those franchises that a lot of us have grown up with, and you know, I think it sort of changed with the times, right? It went from just literally being about street racing to, you know, what's the term? Jumping the shark.
Yeah.
And I think that
they need to do that.
I think that has sort of bred this, you know, specific type of moviegoer, or you know, that particularly goes to these films not because it's gonna be, you know, like an Oscar-worthy movie experience,
right?
But because they're just gonna see how crazy is it gonna get next, right? And I think that's the reason why, even when some may criticize the films, people still go and watch these movies.
Yes, they do.
You know, and yes, we all know that. I think, was it at movie 7 or 8? It was literally just a meme that they were gonna go to space because they just kept going. It goes crazier and crazier. Yeah. What are they gonna do next? Go to space? And someone with a pen said, or with a keyboard said, yes.
Yes, they can.
Yes, they can. And so it definitely created a market. It created a fan base. And I think that's a very hard thing to do, right? So I very much commend the entity that is the Fast and the Furious, because as you know, they've had countless directors. I mean, like every other one, changes directors every other film, but it's still, everyone just kind of keeps the spirit, because even the next director goes, how am I going to top that? While still saying family 15,000 times. And along with that, I think they always just, they always want, what else are they going to sprinkle in? Right. For example, in this one, I think they decided that they were going to add a little bit of drama, right? And I think they wanted to spice it up, because to me, a lot of times I got a lot of like Mexican soap opera type vibes.
Yeah.
Where, the villain, the antagonist is eccentric, and they do very, very evil things, but you kind of like them still, and you kind of like, you really, really like to hate them, and everyone is just doing like these really, really outlandish things. And you know what? Dare I go on another? Hold on, mini tangent.
Yep.
Okay, so shout out to this scene, because the only spoiler I'm going to give about this film is the scene where the scene where little Brian was telling Dom,
yeah,
Dad, you're not afraid of anything. And then and then it moves on to him and Letty, and then he goes like all Mufasa like, you said that I'm not afraid of anything. And then it gets really serious. But I'm afraid of losing a son. And then he looks at Letty. And losing a wife. And then I was like, oh man. It was just deep. It was just really, really, really heavy. And that kind of stuff, they just kind of add everything on there. All right, final thoughts.
Talk to me.
This is a great film, but we must always remember that it is dare I say, a B film, but it's not a bad thing, right? It just means that we all know why we're here to see this movie. So we're gonna see, sit with our drink of choice, our popcorn, and enjoy the crap out of this movie.
Oh yeah.
And for that, what higher grade for a B movie than a B plus?
Yes.
B plus, great storytelling via action that never stopped. The characters are, they're abundant, but they're all good.
Yeah.
Great film. Tiny, what do you think?
Well, sir, I guess I'll just go ahead and give my grade now, and then let you know exactly how I feel. I too give this movie a B plus. This movie is an above average film, giving you just a little bit more than what you would regularly want out of a fuel injected film. Not all car films are great, but these movies are awesome. This movie could have easily been an A, but then again, it would have made it a standalone film. This movie is an installment, right? Into an assumed 3-part franchise. So it's your first act. It's not going to give you exactly everything you expect out of a film. It's not going to give you a cohesive beginning, middle, and end. The film ended, but it ended on a cliffhanger. And that's why... and that's exactly why it gets a B plus. I didn't feel like I didn't watch a whole film. I just felt like I felt wanting more. So I guess I can't wait for the next installments. Good film overall. The action scenes were cool. I thought they were very unique. If I was rolling down the dam, I would hope I've got the abilities that Dom and Lil B have to. I'm just saying, I think I'd be freaking out the entire time. I don't think I'd be any kind of comfortable. I don't even know if I'd be hanging it. That's dream stuff, you know what I mean? Like, good. I mean, I guess secondary favorite scene is that one. But for sure. Good movie. Go watch that. Go take your friends. Take your current girlfriend. Don't take your ex. She probably wouldn't appreciate it anyways. take your cat, or hang out at the house and stream it when you can. So real quick, before we do get out of here, I think a great thing about each installment of the film of the Fast and the Furious franchise is that they always go back to the roots. There's always going to be an illegal street race somewhere. There's always going to be what you can assume is a street party, a hangout, a car meet, a music video being shot. It's fun. It's good stuff. This is what the film's always going to have. It's always going to be fun. As soon as these movies stop being fun, I can only assume they need to start over. Or add the Transformers or the Incredible Hulk. All owned by Universal.
And now it's your turn. What are your thoughts on this film? Did you like it? Did you not? Comment below. Let us know. You know we love the interaction.